What's up, everybody? Welcome into the Fantasy Football Game Show. I almost said the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show, but it is no longer 7 a.m. It is 3 o'clock in the afternoon, baby, and we are getting into some FFGS fun. I'm your host, Simon, joined as always by my co-host, John Luke Garofalo, and our two incredible guests for today, Andrew Elmquist and Teddy Ricketson. What's up, boys? How you guys doing?
What up? Excited to be here,
well, man. Doing well.
So glad to have you guys here. Ready to mock draft.
Let's go.
Andrew moseyed his way on down to San Antonio a couple weeks ago. Got to catch up with him in person. He's a mosier. He moseyed pretty quickly on down here.
No idea.
You spend one day in Texas and you learn how to mosey. It happens pretty quick. But guys, if you're not already following our awesome guest over on Twitter, you should go and fix that right now. They're on Twitter at Andrew Elmquist1 and Teddy on Twitter at Teddy Ricketson. If their handsome faces aren't enough to convince you, I bet in the next 2 minutes it'll be enough to convince you going on over there. We brought these guys here today to mock draft with us. It is the end of the fantasy season. The Super Bowl is this weekend, which means as fantasy addicts like we are, it's time to start preparing for next year. The drafts that we're going to be hitting in August of this upcoming year, 6 months from now, but it's never too early. We're going to do a one quarterback dynasty startup mock draft. Teddy, how many mock drafts have you done so far this offseason? Have you started flexing the muscle?
I haven't. This is going to be my first. This is going to be a fun one because, with work, it's we've been pretty much gearing up for the Super Bowl on Sunday. It's been pretty busy. So once fantasy football ended, it turned into real life football. So whenever you mentioned rookies in the pre-show, I was like, oh, right, we're going to have some of those. So, it's going to be interesting how this turns out.
Andrew, what about you? Are you mock drafting yet?
Yeah, super big into Dynasty, so it's mostly just rookie-only mocks. So probably the most prepared one out of the three of us for the rookies at least. So that should be good. I watched a lot of Senior Bowl tape and stuff. Wish I could have been there, but hopefully we'll be there in the future. But, yeah, done a lot of mocks. I'm looking forward to this format today.
There's definitely some value to be had, especially with the rookies right now.
Sure.
Especially with the rookies. If you're in a startup format that has rookies mixed in there from the go and you're drafting around now, do some research ahead of time because those names are falling. The ADP has not quite adjusted yet to where they're going to be, especially after the NFL draft whenever we come August. So, Andrew, you're not wrong. Gives you a little bit of an edge there whenever it comes to scouting these rookies. John Luke, have you started flexing your mock draft muscle?
Ooh, I've had the itch. To do some dynasty drafts. I haven't done a mock draft, though. I have not. I missed when we did it a couple weeks ago. And then today I'm hosting, so still 0 for 0.
0 for 0. I've done a couple so far, but not a ton. And not a ton with rookies mixed in, so we'll see how these pan out. We got some people in the chat. Jay in here said, look at this handsome bunch. What's up, Jay? Welcome in, my friend. Glad to have you here. For everybody watching, we got 3 spots left in this draft. 2 spots now. So if you want to draft with us, grab one of those spots and we will get the draft started ever so shortly.
See some familiar names in here. We got some Swampies in here. Gary, Dustin, Z2 coming in. Damn, bro. It's a good crew.
We got Dustin in here saying, let's do it. What's up, Dustin? Welcome in.
While we're waiting for that Nike slogan.
What? Let's do it?
Let's do it. Kind of changes everything.
Nike.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Yeah, because it becomes a lot more reckless instead of like a term of like perseverance, like just do it. It's like, I don't know, let's do it. You want to get tattoos?
It's a little bit enabling, yeah.
Yeah, might as well.
Let's do it.
Nike, let's do it. Let's try it out. Because while we're waiting for these last 2 spots to fill in this draft, we have a big game coming up this weekend. Chiefs and Eagles facing off in the Super Bowl. Andrew, who you got in this game? You got the Chiefs or you got the Eagles?
I got Chiefs, man. Got to go with the boys.
The boys.
What about you, Teddy?
I think the Chiefs are going to win, but I'm really pulling for the Eagles.
Fair enough. Why? Just not a Chiefs fan?
I'm not a Chiefs fan. No, no. From living there for 6 months, it was a wild ride. But no, not a Chiefs fan, but not necessarily an Eagles fan. But I kind of want to. I'm interested to see how much the city of Philadelphia can and will implode if they win a Super Bowl. So that's always exciting.
Every video I've seen of Philadelphia fans this past week, that they're all characters out of a movie. Every single one of them. I like every single Philadelphia Eagles fan is a character out of a movie. They'll ask them like, "Where's San Francisco?" and they'll go like, "I don't fucking know," and then just walk away. Like just like in the mid, like at 2 p.m. on a Wednesday on the sidewalk, they just start screaming, "I don't know." It's a different breed, and I'm almost cheering for them just to see that reaction. I feel like I underappreciated it. I wasn't ready the last time they won one, but now
Philadelphia it's only it's 2 hours north of Baltimore. So last time they won, I had like a friend of mine, his brother drove up that night just to go to the like everyone parading around the streets, just flipping cars and putting them on fire.
That would be the part that I'd be scared to attend. That would be the part I'd want to leave for.
It's the only part he came for. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
I remember. Oh, go ahead, Andrew.
No, you go. I was going on a tangent, so go ahead.
As was I, but I'll do my tangent if you insist. I was going to say the night Clemson won their first national championship, I was going around telling everybody, if we win, I'm lighting my couch on fire. If we win, I'm lighting my couch on fire. I was telling everyone, and everyone was ready for the couch to be lit on fire. Luckily for myself and everyone there, I don't remember getting home that night. So no one was present to light my couch.
That's not how I thought that was going to end.
Yeah, same here.
I was not prepared.
Usually the drunk person creates problems for the sober person. Drunk Simon protected sober Simon. Sober Simon was going to light that couch.
Just bailing on his bed.
Drunk Simon went to bed. Said, "I'm going to sleep."
Love it. I mean, what do you guys think this game means for Patrick Mahomes? I think there's been a narrative this week, like he's 1-1 in Super Bowls, and there's a whole narrative of like, hey, three out of his last 5 seasons they've made it. But if they lose, he's the guy that's made it to, 3 Super Bowls and lost 2 of them. Like, I think it's interesting. It's an interesting question for Mahomes and his legacy, especially if he's trying to catch up to Tom Brady. He's got 6 more to do it. And everyone's calling him the baby goat. So I don't know. Do you guys have any thoughts on that?
I think Patrick Mahomes is arguably the best quarterback in the NFL currently. And I think I don't think it's a fluke. I don't think it's a system that's gotten the Chiefs to the big game so many times. I think he's going to be just fine. And it was funny to watch the public sentiment kind of waver last year whenever they were struggling against that cover 2 shell. The teams were playing cover 2 shell, and really shutting down the Chiefs. It feels like everybody dropped. We're like out on Patrick Mahomes all of a sudden.
No, I'm not too worried about impacting his legacy. One thing that I know I need to stop doing, and I think people as general should stop doing, is stop saying the legacy of Patrick Mahomes as compared to Tom Brady. 7 Super Bowls is absurd, truly absurd. No quarterback may ever win 7 Super Bowls again. The amount of things that need to go properly, not just with that quarterback, but with the coaching, with the team, with the other players, with health. And then on top of that, just luck being on your side, right? There's an element of that as well in every single season that plays out towards the outcome. This dude, I don't think his legacy is dependent on catching Tom Brady's Super Bowl record. And look at the other quarterbacks his age, like Justin Herbert. How many Super Bowls has he played in, right? I'm sure Joe Burrow would trade with Patrick Mahomes to be 1-2 in Super Bowls at this point. Like, I get what you're saying. And anybody who's saying that, people are going to say it. People are going to sit there and say, oh, he can't win in the Super Bowl. He's lost 2 of his 3. He can't close like Tom Brady. But those people are just trying to generate buzz around the best player in the NFL right now, or best quarterback.
Fair enough.
All right, our draft is filled. You guys ready to get started here?
Yeah. Drafted.
All right. Thus it begins the 1QB Dynasty Mock Draft. First for a few of us of the off season.
Yeah, I don't think this is going to be a shock. I mean, the ADP's there. It makes a lot of sense. Oh, okay.
Who are you, Apester?
Yeah. Sorry, that's me.
Okay. All right.
That would have been helpful. No, I just love. I mean, Justin Jefferson. I love him in Minnesota. I think obviously we've seen nothing but great things from him, and I don't think this is a shocking pick. I think it's pretty chalky, in fact. But especially in this 3 receiver format, I think you got to start with the stud, in my opinion.
Yeah, the Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase is about as chalk can be. Simon, you got Jamar Chase here at the 2. Justin Jefferson's now your number 1, right?
Justin Jefferson's my number 1, and this player was always going to be Jefferson or Chase, whichever one Andrew didn't take there with the 1. When I'm building a dynasty team, I want to build it around a superstar young wide receiver. And the beautiful thing about these picks, Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase in particular, you could probably throw another wide receiver or 2 in there, is it leaves the door open on the next way around, whether I'm building a quote unquote win now or future team, right? Because I've got the youth and the high upside talent or the high upside fantasy points sitting right there with one player.
Right.
Is that Bijan Robinson 106? Holy smoke.
106 by Joe here. Bijan Robinson.
I've seen it. That's not the first time I've seen him go in the first round of these dynasty startup mocks.
How do you feel about it, son?
It's a little
early.
A little early. I'm a little bit more risk averse with my early dynasty picks.
Me too.
That can ruin your team, man. And you're not redrafting. So I'm going to take someone with a little bit more certainty.
And you probably could have got him a little later too.
I'm not sure he was coming back to him. I'm not
Maybe
sure
not,
he would have gotten him on the way back.
Yeah, no, it's possible not. It's going to depend on your league. Teddy went AJ Brown right after that. AJ Brown was another one who was like, it's kind of like Patrick Mahomes, where everyone seemed down, like everyone was all in on him. He's the number 1. He's potentially a consensus number 1 dynasty wide receiver. All of a sudden, that's gone. Everybody hates him, and then he has a great season this season in Philadelphia, and it feels like now we're seeing right. He's back to the 3rd wide receiver off the board. Teddy, how are you feeling about AJ Brown from a dynasty perspective?
Feeling pretty good about it. Just from what we've kind of seen in the small sample size of this season of him playing with Jalen Hurts, obviously. And even with, Devonta Smith and other offensive weapons around him, he's had a great year. And, with the extension and Hurts kind of showing this year, Super Bowl or not, that he's most likely deserving of a second contract, barring some massive blow up with, in next year, then, I think that this is going to be a tandem to kind of target for the future.
Yeah, I'm with you. And that the system is set up, and the Eagles are set up. Man, they have so much leverage from a lot of those off-season trades. I like the pick. I think he deserves to be the wide receiver in that conversation for a wide receiver 3, probably with CeeDee Lamb, who went there at the 10 spot.
Right.
Yeah. We got some people in the chat. We got Dame in here. You say hi to Dame? No.
Hi, Dame.
Hi, Dame.
What's up, Dame?
Welcome in, my friend. And Dustin saying, I've been asking this questions a lot. Andrew asked about talk about the Mahomes question you brought up. He said, if Mahomes goes 1-2 in the Super Bowl, it says a lot. Hurts needs on to keep Hall of Fame.
Needs one. Hurts needs one. He needs to win this one to keep the Hall of Fame pace.
Need one to keep Hall of Fame pace. Okay, thank you. That broke my brain.
Yeah, it threw you off with Hurts being obviously Jalen as well.
Jalen Hurts, yeah.
Yeah.
Always messing me up. We got Scampers in the chat. Good afternoon, FYFers. Scampers, welcome in. Yeah, Andrew Hall in here said, hey, gang.
What up, Andrew?
Scampers who took Travis Kelce in the 1st with the 5th overall pick.
Yeah, and Tragey in here saying Kelce way too early at the 105 spot. Simon, you are a resident Travis Kelce butt kisser. What do you think?
Yeah, I'll kiss the heck out of Travis Kelce's butt. His 31, 32, 33-year-old butt. I got to get on my tippy toes. That's a big man. That's a big man. And it's just like, it also like radiates heat and light. So it's,
it's like an oven.
Like as you get close, it's like pushing you back. It's so strong. But I get in there, I smooch it. And whenever I smooch it, I let him know 5th is a little bit too high to draft you in a dynasty league, 30-plus-year-old. That being said, if you want Travis Kelce, I will never, even if you draft him 1st overall, I don't care the format, I'm not going to judge it. Like that is a pick I'm cool with because you know what? Scampers wins the tight end position next year and probably the year after that. And with Dynasty, it's a short leash, but that is the only tight end, period, I'm comfortable with starting every single week. Every single other one, there's questions or injury or a new situation. Kelce, you can just plug and play, man.
It's a great point. And if your league does any sort of payouts based off winning the tight end position, you're in for some nice moolah with Travis Kelce.
You're gonna make some money. I see your tongue-in-cheek response, JL, but everyone's got to start a tight end.
Everyone
have one that scores like a top 10 wide receiver instead of a top 80 wide receiver. It's a pretty good extra player to have in your lineup.
Definitely. And the oven butt helps.
Yeah.
I do have a quick question for you guys. I noticed that Craig started running back. just curious to see what you guys' take is on that, especially in a 3-receiver format. It's not something, obviously, that I would necessarily do or, even advise. Like, Craig, love you, man. But I'm just wondering, like, I'm not trying to crap on you, but I'm just genuinely curious, like, how you guys would advise that moving forward. Again, in a 3-receiver league where you have to start 3 guys every week, like, kind of what's your take on that?
I think it dictates his strategy a little bit going forward. But with Breece Hall, Saquon Barkley, and then the way those 27 to 30-year-old wide receivers fall in dynasty startup drafts, I think Craig's going to be able to build a very good win now team. You know what I mean? But you can't waver at this point. Now that you started running back, you can't go drafting a bunch of developmental players. You can't draft your quarterback as a guy that's a backup and maybe won't start and have that be your only person. You need guys that are going to perform. You need to draft Mike Evans. You know what I mean? You need to draft Keenan Allen, these guys that are waiting a little bit. And then I'm cool with it. But it's just a different build. Sure, I generally don't draft like that either, though, Andrew.
Okay.
Yeah, I personally, my preference is going the balance route and then adjusting to how my league mates are drafting. So I love the running back approach, and I'll often take that approach when my league mates are going wide receiver heavy. Mm-hmm. Running backs, they retain their value at least at like a high level in the short term, not in the long term, but in the short term. We say this a lot in the morning show. They're like the currency of dynasty in a lot of senses.
Right.
And so I think though a lot of these top guys, they're going to retain value for a little bit, and you can use that to adjust your build as you go after the draft. So I don't hate it, but also typically not my meta strategy here.
For sure.
Teddy going the opposite approach, the AJ Brown, Jalen Waddle. Now that's typically how I like to draft.
Yeah, so the Waddle one, I put up stats so I can feel smart. Is just the fact that even with Tyreek in town and with their kind of revolving door at quarterback because of injuries to Tua, he still had 75 receptions, 1,356 yards, and 8 touchdowns in the regular season. So we don't know what's going to happen for the next 2 years, but for now, that's good enough.
Yeah, I'm with you. And Waddle, like, it seems like a perfect spot for him. I saw Scampers took T. Higgins 2 spots after. And I just sat here thinking, what would I do in that situation, Waddle or Higgins? And I don't know. It's close.
We know you would take Higgins. Come on.
I think I would.
And
obviously took.
I think personal bias is a perfectly reasonable tiebreaker or
100%
all around reason to draft a player in fantasy. If you just 100%. Like a guy, take him. Do it. Nike. Let's do it.
Let's do it. Yeah.
Let's do it.
Draft T. Higgins. Let's do it. Andrew, I'm upset with you.
Sorry, buddy.
Upset with you. I went back and forth between. Would you have drafted DK Metcalf if I took Devonta Smith there?
I would have, yeah.
Okay, so I was screwed either way, I guess. Then I was going back and forth. Which one's going to get back to me, DK Metcalf or Devonta Smith?
Yeah, and so talking about strategy and draft, like I really wanted to come out of this draft with Justin Jefferson and either DK or Devontae or Garrett Wilson. Obviously, he didn't fall to me. But with Najigba just sitting there, Smith-Njigba just sitting there, I got all my 3 starting wide receivers next year, hopefully, unless, Smith-Njigba goes to a really bad spot for whatever reason. But my wide receiver, one of the class, had to take him there. And now I have my wide receiver set.
And I'm going to follow you getting my wide receiver set.
Let's go, baby.
Chase Metcalf McLaurin.
McLaurin, I feel like, is a half good quarterback season away from everybody falling in love with him again. Like every time you watch him, if you just watch him play, he's been on the Commanders and he's had Taylor Heineke and Carson Wentz throwing him the ball. It's been pretty abysmal. He still looks like a superstar out there. He's still one of the best players on the field, offense or defense, every single game he's playing in. And if they say it's going to be Howell next year, right? Hopefully he can be at least halfway decent. Or if they bring someone else in, that's just a smoke screen to make people think they're starting Howell.
Yeah, I feel like I don't know. I'm not putting too much stock in that. We're so far out. I don't know. I'm just not. I think there's a lot of opportunity for things to change between now and then.
And wide receivers are flying.
They are, man. They are.
There's only 9 running backs off the board here, and we're in the middle of the 3rd round.
Yeah.
I am glad I got my wide receivers there.
But again, it's format contingent, right? Like if we're talking about a 2 running back, 2 wide receiver, I think this draft is infinitely different, in my opinion.
Yeah.
For sure.
Teddy,
go ahead.
I'll finish your thought, Andrew.
Oh, I was just gonna say I am super in favor of 3 wide receivers just because I love points, man. Give me those PPR gods.
Yeah, wide receiver, like taking the stash plays and for wide receivers in Dynasty are just so fun to play. You know, like when you hit on a wide receiver after you stash him for a while, it's like nothing else.
Oh, my favorite part of a Dynasty draft is the last 6 rounds where you only draft running backs. And the ones that nobody thinks are ever going to start. You just start taking shots on like 3rd string guys.
Yeah, I do love that too. Teddy, I want to ask you. Actually, I'll ask this to both of you guys, but we'll start with Teddy here. Any of these wide receivers that have gone to the board, are any of them surprising to you where they went?
The only one, which I think he's still going to be fine, but I just am so concerned with the Falcons like team as a whole in their offense, and just like I don't know what they're going to do at quarterback, if it's going to be Mariota or Ritter or other, and so for me, Drake London is a little wishy-washy for me there, but I don't think like it's that bad of a pick, but otherwise I think all the other picks have been awesome.
Head of Adams is a little bit surprising to me.
Again, quarterback thing. You don't.
Yeah, that's a good point.
They were happy to throw Jarrett Stidham out, and I'm pretty sure Devontae still got like 12 targets a game. So even if he's running out there, then and London's Mariota, Ritter, or other. So
well,
Mike White, I guess
it hardly even mattered who was under center for the Falcons because they ran a literal like 1940s style offense. What, they threw the ball like 3 times a game?
3.5.
Tyler Algier season.
For an average of 4 yards depth of target each time,
season.
like just abysmal. I'm with you, Teddy. I was debating Drake London there because I love him as a prospect. I love him as a talent, but man, there was not a single promising thing I saw out of Atlanta and nothing promising this offseason that's making me think next year is going to be the year. I don't see a morsel of a clue tempting me in that direction.
Yeah. The only thing that's a little bit interesting to me is that Olave went after London, which I mean, again, we're splitting hairs here with 2 picks, right? But like that's what these drafts are about. Me personally, I liked a little bit more of what I saw with Olave, and he didn't have a great quarterback situation either. Granted, the Saints threw the ball a little bit more than the Falcons did, but I mean, again, splitting hairs. But I would have liked to see, and how I have it ranked is Olave over London for sure.
Yeah, I think I would take Olave over London as well. I need to update my Dynasty rankings because now
yet again another quarterback situation.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Teddy, I love that Burrow pick there, by the way.
Thank you. I almost went Hawkinson, but I felt icky about doing Hawkinson as the tight end 3 in a Dynasty draft.
Fair enough.
Yeah, it makes sense. Who if it's not Hawkinson, who's number 3?
I still think it's going to be Mark Andrews because I don't care who they have under center. If it's Lamar or whoever they end up trading Lamar for or signing, they're going to have to lean on him. So I think just from target share alone, he's going to still be tight end 3.
Well, I really think no one should draft him though.
No one should, and especially in the next 3 picks.
Yeah, just a random. That's my opinion on Mark Andrews is don't draft him. Nike, don't do it.
Let's not do it.
Don't do it.
That's Adidas's slogan. Just
Adidas.
Don't do it.
Just don't do it.
Just don't do it.
Let's do something else.
Adidas.
I feel like that'd be like
not. Yes, it worked. I guess no one wanted them, but that's who I was going for, and that's who I'm going to draft here.
Kyle Pitts, Mark Andrews here in the 4th round, like that. That to me is why I shudder at Kelsey in the 1st round every time.
Oh yeah, I'll take Andrews in the 4th over Kelsey in the 1st every time.
Yeah, just lifetime value. I just feel like Kelsey's going to give you the short term, but lifetime value doesn't quite stand up. I don't even know. I don't think I'd take him first. I think I'd take Pitts over Kelsey.
I'm still going Kelsey over Pitts.
Joe has a very interesting team that he's starting with. Very young.
Yeah. 2 rookie running backs.
Y'all thought back-to-back running backs were an issue. Plot twist. Right. 3 out of 4.
So
with
Craig,
2 being rookies.
Craig also has 3 running backs.
Yeah.
And Craig brought something up in here. all starting roster spots are scored the same. Your running back spots and your flex spots and your wide receiver spots aren't getting different bonuses. So with 2 flex spots, it does provide a little bit more freedom with the beginning of your draft.
Yeah, that's a good point.
That's true.
That's a very good point.
I am never comfortable drafting heavy RB. I always get uncomfortable with my wide receivers, especially in a dynasty startup, but people do it and find mad success with their heavy RB strategy, their high T, robust RB strategy.
High T, big D, robust RB strategy.
Hey. I had to right here. I honestly, there's a rookie I really like, but I'm gonna wait just because I don't think you guys either know him or aren't gonna draft him.
I'm just gonna start drafting rookies.
Hey,
Yeah,
I can't wait for this to backfire on you, Andrew.
Do it. That's fine. How do you guys feel about Javonte Williams? Personally, I loved what I saw out of him before the ACL tear. Obviously, it's a risk, right? But he's a 5th rounder, so I'm willing to risk him in the beginning of the 5th round here, even though we don't know what he's going to be like coming off that injury. But how do you guys see his outlook moving forward?
I'm personally just terrified of that offense.
Yeah.
Just from what we've seen so far. And like, obviously it's almost like it almost can't get worse, but there's still that chance it could. And that's equally terrifying.
Yeah, sure. It absolutely could get worse, which is the terrifying part of it. Hey,
go ahead, Joe.
I believe in talent. I think he's a talented running back. I think this system is good. Like, they have some growing pains and they have to figure themselves out what their identity is. And until we see that, that's risk. That's uncertainty.
For sure.
I think he was overvalued last offseason. I think he's a little bit undervalued now. Now, that being said, the injury's probably pushing him down a little bit further. We don't even know if he's going to be ready to go at the beginning of next season. Most likely not, based on the injury that he has. But the dude's amazing. And the Broncos had to have known what they had in Melvin Gordon going into last year through training camp, through the preseason, right? And they still rolled in with Javonte Williams. They were ready to have him be that lead back. So I'm in. I think Javonte's the dude.
Yeah, right on.
We got Jedi in here, said Tony. What up, Jedi? Good to see you, my friend. I don't know if he's suggesting we should draft Kadarius Toney here.
I was going to say, I didn't see him drafted.
I like coming into the conversation with that, though. That's like a good word to come in with. Tony! We got Jay in here, said, well, you're all wrong and I hate you. Get back at you, friend. Don't know what you're talking about. But it's reciprocated. And Z2 said, didn't think I'd have 3 wide receivers already, but here we are. Yeah.
It's a good spot to be in.
Where's his team?
11th spot.
Oh, that's why. It's cut off. Kenneth Walker, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Michael Pittman, Jerry Jeudy. That's a solid team. I don't hate it. I think I would have gone Hall over Walker, though.
It's the wide receivers that I don't like. I'm not in love with. Like, there's just lacking upside whenever we're looking right there. Like Michael Pittman, that Colts offense. I'm very nervous about a Jeff Saturday coached Colts offense with who knows who under center throwing the ball to Michael Pittman. It can be pretty bad. And we saw Pittman have some rough stretches this season. Amon-Ra St. Brown, I didn't see enough of Jameson Williams this year to know for sure that Amon-Ra St. Brown is going to be the one in that offense next year. Jameson Williams, if he didn't get injured, could have been the number 1 drafted wide receiver out of that class last year. Like, he's got that level of talent, that level of like pedigree to him. And then Jerry Jeudy, we just talked about that Broncos offense and the concerns we have for it. And again, we don't know that he's the one. We don't know if it's him or Cortland Sutton that's going to be the one over there in that offense. It's like, I like each of those players individually, but all of them paired together, I'm not loving it. Z2, I've seen you draft some monster teams. That's not my favorite wide receiver core, though.
Yeah, it's the Pittman piece for me that just makes me feel a little uneasy. Amon-Ra St. Brown, I'm more confident in than you, it sounds, Simon, but Pittman, I don't know. Just feel a little more concerned.
Yeah, I agree. I think those 3, well, I like Amon-Ra as well. I think Pittman and Jeudy are both guys, instead of having like exclamation points next to their name, it's question marks, right? Like, I think we don't know what's moving on with them. And Jeudy, I mean, there was trade talks with Jeudy, right? Like, there was talk that he could move on from the Broncos. So yeah, I don't like the unknown, especially when I'm, trying to build my team around those 3 guys for sure.
Yo, they should trade him to Jacksonville.
Yo,
Just all the wide receivers in Jacksonville.
Or the
wide
Chargers.
receiver super team. Yeah, Chargers maybe with Keenan Allen potentially rumored to be cut this all season.
Right, cap casualty.
Yeah, it could be interesting. Andrew in here said Gary auto drafting an RB only team. Yeah, for real. Austin Eckler, Josh Jacobs, Derrick Henry, Alvin Kamara, Aaron Jones,
Josh Allen, and a bunch of running backs.
maybe,
sorry,
maybe it'll work.
A bunch of running backs.
This will be a fun question for Andrew. I just took Jordan Addison. Wanted to take a rookie, so I did. No clue if that's too early.
Yeah, I mean,
it's going to be landing spot, obviously, right?
Right. Yeah. I mean, there's definitely other rookie wide receivers I would take over Addison, but again, for me, it's about who you like, and I mean, if you like Addison's tape, that's great. He's my dynasty wide receiver 3. I won't say my 2 because I'm hoping I can draft him. But yeah, I mean, you know, and we didn't even mention Michael Mayer that got drafted 603, who's an awesome tight end prospect. Maybe not as of an athletic freak as Pitts was, but he's being touted similarly to Pitts. So curious to see where he ends up. But yeah, I mean, I really like him on the Dolphins or the Packers because the Dolphins are rumored to get rid of Gesicki. The Packers don't really have a good tight end, so just something to watch for. But to answer your question, I know I said a long way, but Addison might be a little bit early without knowing the landing spot.
Yeah, that's fair.
And I threw a poll in the chat a little earlier. It said, who would you draft first in a dynasty startup draft? Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jalen Waddle, T. Higgins, or Tyreek Hill? The chat said Amon-Ra St. Brown, number 1, 46% of the vote. Next up, Jalen Waddle, 26%. Then T. Higgins, 20%, followed by Tyreek Hill at 6%. It's kind of interesting. That second round, or the top of the second round, kind of interesting.
I'd rather have Waddle personally than.
Totally all I'm hearing is that I made a very good pick then. So let's forget that Addison won and go back to that.
Yeah, go back to the wins.
Let's focus on that one. And don't worry, if you're wondering why Simon's quiet, it's because he is hardcore trying to figure out what your wide receiver rookie 2 is right now so he can snake him.
No, it's me looking at the draft board and going, God, I hate the 6th round. God, I hate the 6th round. Why? Like everybody seems like a reach or like it just nothing feels right in the 6th round. Like I get to the 9th, I got no qualms about taking a player. You know what I mean? It's the 9th round. I'll take whoever the hell I want. Right. In the 6th round.
And now you're on the clock.
And now I'm on the clock.
I would say the 6th and 7th round is tough, right? Because I feel like you either reach for somebody or you get an absolute steal that turns out to be awesome. But yeah, you're right. Like the 9th, 10th, 11th rounds, that's kind of those, hey, I found a diamond in the rough, or, oh, I drafted him late. I don't really care about him anyway. But
yeah, like Christian Kirk this last year, maybe like Deebo Samuel the year before.
True.
Yeah. Andrew, it's Simon. Well, Simon's making his pick. Ooh,
we didn't get him. There you go.
Andrew in the chat said, without landing spots, I'm not sure I can take a rookie wide receiver that early. Running back, sure, but wide receivers are more situation dependent. Interesting theory there. Interesting theory. How do you guys look at drafting rookie wide receivers versus rookie running backs? Taking it outside Teddy's pick here, the running back.
Like before we know where they're going to land or after?
Yeah. Prior to knowing where to landing, like based off Andrew's point here, do you guys agree with that premise that running backs should go earlier because wide receivers are more situation dependent?
I agree that running backs are less situation dependent. So if that's your primary factor, like, are they going to perform year 1 just based on talent? It's a lot more predictive for running backs. So their value is more likely to be accurate at this point in the season than the wide receivers are, who might be a little more dependent on their landing spot.
Right.
For sure. Which is why I decided not to take my rookie wide receiver just because I did think it was too early. Tajee Spears, though, I don't know if you guys saw anything coming out of the Senior Bowl, but I was on him before that. I loved him out of Tulane, and he's a dog. Like he's shifty. He kind of reminds me of like a faster Kadarius Toney, if that makes sense. Like he's He's able to evade opposing runners, and I really like the way that he plays. The only downside to him at all is his size. He's not a big boy, which could hurt his draft stock. I think he's 5'10", not even 200 pounds. I got 4 inches and 30 pounds on him. So I could out.
You could be in the NFL.
Yeah. That's all that it takes.
It's a little weight and a little height. And the power of Travis Kelce's butthole.
Bing
That's what I
bong.
get for talking shit. Simon takes James Cook.
Gotcha.
Man, that wasn't your classic Columbia, South Carolina accent coming out, Teddy. To transport me right back to college.
I'll take it. Don't worry. I was surprised I was invited back on the podcast this close to the end of the college football season.
I was surprised too.
I guess it is. I guess it was by Jay. So there you go.
But it's a difficult conversation to have later.
Yeah.
Difficult for him.
It's college basketball season, so all is forgiven.
Yeah. I hung out with my cousin this weekend. She's a Maryland Terps fan. And she just texted me, sorry about Clemson. And I was like, I don't even know what you're talking about.
Yeah. The worst thing is, Jail, is I learned Clemson was top 20 in basketball just in time for them to get knocked out of the rankings the next day.
Yeah.
Like it was like, oh, we're talking.
No,
we're not. Like I had no idea until the day before we lost our ranking.
Yeah.
Even the football news isn't exciting right now, at least for South Carolina. They were like, oh, with this recent recruit, South Carolina now has the number 16 recruiting class in the country. And I'm like, hell yeah, like things are looking up. And they're like, yeah, which ranks 7th in the SEC. Like, cool.
Great.
Awesome.
Yikes.
Love that for us.
Scampers just took my wide receiver 2 of the class, Quentin Johnston out of TCU. He's a dog.
Scampers.
You like them horned frogs? My parents were cracking up that was their mascot. Couldn't believe it whenever the national champ. Like they were just like, what is it?
Did you introduce him to Hypnotoad?
They would have been lost for hours.
I still haven't spoken to my parents since the college football playoff national championship.
They're still like laughing, just gut wrenching laugh at horned frogs.
You just hear from the background my parents who don't live with me scream, "All hail Hypnotoad." You just hear it from off in the distance. Yeah, it's become a bit of a problem, guys.
So Teddy, you went quarterback early on here with Joe Burrow in the 4th round. Then you got Freiermuth here in the 7th round. How are you feeling about this build? I know this topic comes up, the quarterback tight end combo, the one-off positions in your dynasty startup builds. How do you feel about the team now that you've got these two guys through the 7th rounds?
I'm here.
Yeah. I made it. I'm alive.
I felt real good 1 to 3, and then after that, it's just kind of like, all right, let's see what happens. I don't hate the individual players. It's just more that, and like where their situations. I think they're both going to be good, and they're going to be good for the foreseeable future. Just because obviously Burrow is Burrow, and then Freiermuth and that connection with Kenny Pickett was evident this year, and so I think that's going to continue to get better. But it's more of I am a person that tends to kind of link my quarterback and tight end even in redraft, and so like for that I feel uncomfortable about it. But from the actual pieces I have, I feel good with it. My only concern at this point is running back, which I may or may not address in 4 picks, so we'll see how that goes.
Yeah,
but other than that, I like it.
Do you typically target quarterback in that top tier quarterback here in the top 4 rounds? Yeah,
I used to not, and then like obviously with Dynasty it kind of varies. But I think there was one Dynasty week that I started. I think it was like it may not have been super flex league, but it was just because of bye weeks and injuries. I had to start a quarterback that like needed the starter to get hurt to see the field. And so it's like since then I've just been like, all right, let's put a little bit more of a priority on quarterbacks just from their point distribution. And so it kind of just varies, and like we say all the time, it kind of depends on the feel of the board and like what your league mates are doing and stuff. But I like Burrow there, especially with just the quarterbacks that kind of came after it.
Right. Andrew, are you haven't gotten a quarterback yet. What's your typical quarterback strategy in Dynasty 1 quarterback leagues?
Yeah. So my typical strategy is to go for so my top 5 right now is Mahomes, Mahomes, Burrow, Allen, Hurts, and Herbert. And since I didn't get one of those top 5 guys, I zigged when I would normally zag, if that makes sense. So that's when the time I took Hawkinson, took Williams, because I love Trevor Lawrence, but it just wasn't the time for me. I am probably going to go quarterback with this next pick, just so I can get, because we have 11 picks off the board. So I want to get, a top 12, top 14 guy, just so, like Teddy said, there's some stability at the position. But I'm not necessarily I wasn't going to reach for Lamar Jackson or Kyler. I love Justin Fields, but wasn't going to reach for either of those two guys just because injury and landing spot, especially for Lamar, is just super unknown at the moment.
Yeah,
exactly where I was, Andrew, on that turn. I considered Justin Fields there. I really considered Justin Fields and Lamar Jackson at that pick. Just, do I do this? Do I do this? I was like, I can't yet, man. I can't do it.
Right. Exactly.
We'll see, though.
Throwing a poll in the chat. I asked the chat which person's had the best start to their draft so far. Simon's team, Andrew's team, or Teddy's team. Simon, your team has won 42% of the vote in the chat.
Yeah.
And Andrew and Teddy are tied.
That's rare.
28%.
Usually the chat
don't feel good. That's a plurality. Calm down.
They usually hate my drafts. I like Craig's draft. We talked about it a little bit at the beginning, starting off running back, and I wasn't sure I was going to turn out, but got some value on wide receivers down here at the bottom. And then if Keenan Allen ends up getting cut, you get Keenan Allen being the one somewhere else and Mike Williams being the one on the Chargers. It's going to look hot next year, Craig.
I agree.
Yeah, Craig's definitely got one of my favorite teams here. Right behind Gary, obviously.
Good.
Gary is going to be the subject of many trade offers.
Yeah, for real. DeAndre Hopkins.
The season goes.
Yeah. Gary just hoarding the running backs.
All the running backs. Jay saying, I hate, damn it, Simon. Dustin saying, I hate you, Simon.
Oh, I'm just making everyone happy today. Got Teddy, got Dustin, got Jay.
Dustin said he's going to go Quentin Johnson. Sniped.
Let's just keep sniping Dustin the rest of the show.
Yeah.
Over and over and over.
I may have forgotten to mention Clemson beat Duke a few weeks ago. Yeah, funny you didn't mention that.
Slipped the mind.
Yeah.
Luckily for Duke in their offseason, UNC ain't looking so hot either.
Who won that game? I was watching
Duke won.
it. Duke won?
Duke won that game, yeah.
Nice.
Came down to the wire.
Nice.
Oh, what do I do here? Oh, no. Do I go with my heart?
Or do you go with your body?
Or do I go with
you go with Travis Kelce's
body?
Travis Kelce. Whenever you're describing Travis Kelce's butt, I was imagining that scene in I don't know which Marvel Cinematic Universe movie it is, but it's the one where Thor has to get his hammer replaced. He goes to what's it called, nowhere, and he's got to hold that thing open while the sun's just shooting energy into the hole.
Yeah,
it's 100% Travis Kelce's butthole.
That would be Infinity War. So, for anyone wondering at home,
thank you, Teddy.
I tuned out there for a moment. The hammer. Mjolnir? Is that what you're talking about?
Mjolnir is the hammer, but the axe is something different.
Stormbreaker.
Axnir?
Nice.
Yes, they're Axnir.
Waxnir.
Axe body spray, jetpack.
Phoenix.
That was one. I couldn't think of one for the life of me. There was one that smelled like chocolate that I had in middle school. Do you remember the Axe chocolate line?
Oh yeah, I know.
Oh my god, it was like the shit at my middle school. Know what I mean? Like you weren't in PE unless you had the chocolate Axe.
It was like a cell phone that was the chocolate. It was one of the ones.
Oh, the LG chocolate. Yeah, I had one of those. And the chocolate too. I had both.
Yep.
Oh, well, aren't you cool?
What's it like to be rich, man?
I'll let you know when I find out.
Yeah, fair enough.
I just begged my mom to give me all of her Verizon phone upgrades growing up. We'll swap. You don't need the nice new one. I need
we'll swap.
I gotta text these girls.
There was a 2-month period in high school. I had a flip phone, and I was showing off how indestructible it was. So I threw it as high as I could in the air. And then whenever it hit the ground, turns out it wasn't as indestructible as it had been all the other times. And it snapped in half. No, it was just like a $20 flip phone from Walmart that came in like cellophane packaging that you shoved a SIM card in.
You were like,
this
is
had gotten
indestructible.
stolen. It had been indestructible thus far.
Like
the problem was though, it didn't fully break. It broke in half, but the bottom still worked. I could type numbers and I could talk. I just didn't have a speaker or a screen. So I could charge it and use it. And my parents had me use that phone for a couple months where like school would end. I have no idea if they answered. I don't drive yet. I'm 15 and like wrestling practice is over. I need them to come pick me up. And I just like dial the number and yell into the phone for 45 seconds the message I'm trying to send, like, hey, I need to be picked up from school. Wrestling practice is over. Hey, I need, like, in case it's a voicemail, and then hang up. And that was how I used my phone for a couple months.
Like random contacts in your contact.
The fact that you didn't get kidnapped is a miracle.
That could be said about Simon every single day.
Like today, even like when the podcast ends. Yeah.
100%. Anytime he leaves the house.
What can I say? I'm lureable.
That's an interesting adjective to describe yourself.
Lurable. A haver and a lurable.
Amen, brother.
You guys are talking about Axe, and I was thinking about this. This memory came back to me that the other day, like 2 weeks ago, I'm in a store with Maria. This guy walks by, and he's doused in that Axe Phoenix body spray, and I immediately get transported back to my middle school gym locker room, where they just sprayed it all down the whole time. Every time you walked in there, it smelled like straight up Axe.
Yeah.
And here this guy was, mid-30s, just still rocking the Axe body spray. And I was like, yeah, okay, I respect it, bro. I respect it.
The real question I have is like, what kind of a name is Axe? You know, because you're like, oh, bro, you smell like Axe. Or like, wait, what do I smell like? Dude, Axe.
You smell like ass. You stink.
Yeah.
Use my Axe.
Yeah. Wild.
Yeah, they should have thought of that one. Oops.
Fair enough.
What was the other? Illmind Jedi saying Axe chocolate was terrible, but we still
still
wore it. Yeah, we did, baby.
That's right.
Yeah. We said about a lot of things we liked back then.
Axe chocolate, I feel like just like imagine yourself in like a gross, dingy strip club on a weeknight. That's what Axe chocolate smells like. Like the scent.
Terrible idea. Terrible execution. Just all around.
Yeah.
all around bad.
0 for 2.
0 for 2. Teddy going strong on the hammer in these running backs here in the middle rounds.
Ooh, nice value.
Brian Robinson, Jamal Williams, Deonta Foreman. I like that. It feels like there's Jamal Williams to Deonta Foreman feels like a massive drop off for some reason.
It does feel that way, but it's also because Jamal Williams, albeit as charming as he is captain touchdown regression.
True.
So pretty much not expecting the same kind of production there. But at this point, if the Panthers are willing to move on from Christian McCaffrey, I can't really see them bringing in like some insane running back. So I feel like Foreman has a pretty good shot at still being the guy. And so with all the other needs they have to address. So we'll see.
He's shown flashes, and I feel like as far as like running backs who've come back from the Achilles tear, he's got to be one of the more successful cases.
I would say so, yeah.
Probably Cam Akers is going to be in that category as well.
See, I think the verdict's still out on if Cam Akers is going to be good or not after coming back. He had a couple good weeks, but he didn't look so hot to close the season out. Looked like the old school Cam Akers back out there.
Right.
The old school being early,
bad.
Like bad, okay.
Bad, James.
Old school. He was good though, right? Florida State.
Yeah. I guess NFL old school, not like, oh, you were good in college.
I got you. Swamp going second quarterback here. Kirk Cousins. Now Simon's on the clock.
That was an auto pick.
Yeah. Makes sense. Yeah, why else would someone take Kirk Cousins willingly?
Yeah. Oh, that's tough.
Got him.
There's your nice Tuesday afternoon shade, Kirk. Keep you out of that sun, buddy. And Mr. Scamper's in the chat said, just rub up on a tree. That's the move.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Thanks for saying that.
Sure the tree consents first, I guess.
Thanks for saying that.
That is information.
I'm glad that was out loud. I am not ready at all for this pick. No! I'm not ready. No, I did it anyways. I don't know why I did that. Everything's a mistake. This is awful.
Do you want me to undo? Say now. All right, now it's too late. Andrew's like, nope.
Yeah.
Andrew's like draft.
Dude, I like Michael Carter. I think he still has a place either on the Jets or somewhere else moving forward. And then Zamir White, dog. I think that just unfortunately caught behind Josh Jacobs, but I think he's definitely like 2 or 3 years from now. I think we're going to be talking about him as a top 12 dynasty guy, to be honest.
Dang, that is a cold. I don't know if that's a hot take, but it's definitely a take.
It is. It is.
Teddy, are you as bullish on Zamir White?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was high on him as a rookie. I was not expecting this insane year for Josh Jacobs. I thought Zamir was actually going to have some relevance this year, and that quickly dissipated. But no, I agree. I think he's going to be solid.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Simon went quarterback. I'm guessing you are at least not as concerned as some people about Tua's concussions.
It's a little concerning, right? Like,
that's why he's going here.
That's why he's going here. But going into this season and up until there were concerns about whether he was ever going to play again or not, dude's a top 6 dynasty quarterback for me. To get him down here in the 11th round is great value. And everything he says and everything the team says is pointing towards he's playing next year. But he's ready to go. He's going to get his health right, and he's going to get back out there on the field. So I'll take what I view as one of the best young quarterbacks in the league in the 11th round. Now, in a real dynasty draft, this is going to go way more than 12 rounds, right? We're probably going to have another 8 to 10 rounds. I am definitely drafting a Russell Wilson, a Jared Goff, a Geno Smith as well to pair with Tua, just in case. Maybe one of these older guys that's slipping down late that I can still plug in and start.
Right.
Yeah. I like that. Andrew said it's round 11. It's already getting ugly. And then he said Zamir, or did you mean Rashad? Did I mistake? I thought you were talking about Zamir White. Were you talking about Rashad White?
I was talking about Zamir.
Yeah, Rashad White got drafted by Simon in the sixth round.
Yeah. Tiny number rounds.
Yeah, I mean, Rashad is, obviously a better talent. I don't think anyone's going to dispute that. But I think Zamir, again, I think he's going to take a little bit longer to develop in the league. But like I said, I think, in a couple of years, I think he'll be really good.
Yeah, I like that take. I haven't heard many people talk about Zamir White lately. So
damn it, Z2.
Damn it, Z2. Going CJ Stroud.
I respect it.
Gary, a nice sandwich for his draft. He started with a quarterback and he ended with a quarterback. Nice draft, Gary.
Amen, brother.
Nice. Let's talk about Dustin's team a little bit here. He's number 10.
He has you convinced he's done. Tom Brady's coming back. Best pick of the draft.
I like that. The double redo would be fantastic. Like, nothing would make me happier than to see him walk back the second retirement.
I've already told you how it's going to happen. He won't do it, but Tim Brody's going to play in the NFL next year.
Oh,
Tim Brody.
Jay, you stinky man. That was my last round pick. I was waiting to take Greg Dulcich in the last round. I know he did that just to mess with me.
I love Greg Dulcich, dude.
That's good value for Greg Dulcich here in the 12th.
This is freaking stupid, Jay.
How do you guys feel about Dulcich's upside? Is this appropriate value for him, or should he be going higher?
Take him ahead of. This is probably relatively appropriate value for what he's done so far.
I'd agree.
Yeah, I could see the argument for taking him all the way up near Schultz and Waller. That's like as high as I could see the argument for taking him because of the upside that he has in the age and what we saw from him as a rookie, as a tight end in an abysmal offense.
Right.
Now, this time next year, we could be talking about this dude quite a bit up higher. I think he's a candidate to be a big jumper next year.
He has a rookie tight end. I mean, I was just very impressed with what I saw. I would think I'd take him over Njoku, but I think that's right about where I probably put him.
I think that's fair. I don't mind him going up there.
Yeah. I wouldn't have the stones to put him over Schultz at the moment, but I would have him over Njoku. I would for sure have him over Chigakonkwo.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, he was kind of my guy that I targeted in rookie drafts last year. I think I got him in the early 3rd, I believe, in most drafts. And it's paid off. I'm super happy with every dynasty team that I have Dulcich. So I think that he could be a really good, 2nd or 3rd option for Wilson moving forward for sure.
Yeah,
I'm with you, Andrew. I was bought in heavy last year. Whenever he got injured, it was devastating. But then whenever he came back and just showed up and started playing, it was that moment of like, yes, like you spend all offseason getting hyped up about a player, and then Darnell Mooney happens, and you're sad. know what I mean? It feels good when they pan out, when they work.
Yeah. I got one more question for you guys. I took, and I'm not trying to be like, oh, look at my draft, but I paired Donovan Peoples-Jones with Deshaun Watson with my last pick there. What do you guys think? Because the Browns need help, right? Like, it's kind of like that Michael Jordan meme of like, stop it, get some help. Like, they need that. They need that. Like, they have Amari Cooper and they have Donovan Peoples-Jones, who's been a really great contributor. But I mean, granted, Deshaun Watson will have like a full offseason and training camp and everything with the Browns. But do you guys think they need to make another splash at receiver, either in the draft or in the in free agency?
They probably should.
It is one of the few teams I'm going to say I don't think needs to because they want to run the ball first. They've got Nick Chubb. I assume they'll probably bring someone else in behind him if Kareem Hunt isn't on that team next year, which looks like they're not going to be. But that being said, if Kareem Hunt doesn't come back, if they're unable to do that, I do believe this team still wants to run the ball first, but they're going to have to chuck it around a little bit more if it's just Nick Chubb leading that backfield. As a Browns fan, I'd love to see another splashy wide receiver signing or a high draft value draft pick. I just don't see it happening for the Browns. I think they're going to roll out there and have this be a Chubb-centric offense.
Fair enough.
Chubb-centric.
Which is great for DPJ. I think DPJ is going to retain his value going into this year.
For sure.
I don't know if they stick the run-heavy route, but it's hard for me to believe they're going to pay Deshaun that much and then stay run-heavy. But I see that path of logic you're taking, Simon. It'd be interesting to see.
Teddy, you like DPJ, or do you hate him with a passion in your soul?
No, I like him. I actually added him in a PPR league this year because he's started off getting a lot of targets, but he couldn't just hang on for consistency. And I know, obviously, when going forward, it kind of depends on what David Bell is able to do as far as his progression in the offense and everything. But there you go. And then, but otherwise, yeah, I like DPJ plenty, especially because he's cool with us abbreviating his name.
Right.
That's a great point that you and Illmind brought up about David Bell. We didn't really see him develop too much this year. I feel like we saw little flashes, but you got to watch out for those rookies or second-year, third-year players developing a little bit, taking targets away from guys that aren't safe. Like I would consider DPJ unsafe. Right. But in the 12th round, everybody's unsafe, right? Unless it's a quarterback in a 1QB league. And even then, like the safest QB down there was Dak Prescott, Mr. Interception King this past year. Guys, that is going to be it for our mock draft this Friday. Everybody watching, thank you so much for coming in and hanging out with us. And those of you who drafted with us, thanks for drafting with us. If you have not already done so, go and follow our friends Andrew and Teddy over on Twitter. You can follow Andrew on Twitter at Andrew Elmquist. And Andrew is a contributor over at The Commish and Eat, Watch, Bet. So make sure you check out his work over there. And you can follow Teddy on Twitter at Teddy Ricketson and find his work at DK Live, where he is a staff writer. Teddy and Andrew, thank you guys so much again for coming on with us today, my friends.
Yeah, we appreciate you guys.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, of course. It was a lot of fun.
We'll have to have you guys back for a game sometime soon. Bring you guys back on here. Until then, though, that is going to be it for us today. Thank you again, everybody. We will see you bright and early tomorrow morning right here on our YouTube channel for some more of the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show. Until then, though, we are out of here. Adios, everyone.